nighttime edition of a Rant and a Ride. Welcome aboard. We're southbound on the Don Shula Expressway, State Road 874 in Miami. 70 degrees outside. It's a beautiful night. Doing every bit of 60 miles an hour and opposed to 60. And I figured today, tonight, we might talk a little bit about the old TV shows. Keep things on a lighter note. The old sitcom Three's Company, Barney Miller, Fish. But one of my favorites was WKRP in Cincinnati. I think the producers and the writers did a great job in developing the characters, and my opinion, the characters that really made that show were the three that were made fun of: Mr. Carlson, Herb Tarlick, and Les Nessman. Les Nessman in the news, and his little tape around his desk, because someday he'll get an office. Someday they'll put walls. And it's a daily, what do you call it, a daily pig report, but it was one of them. They have Venus Flytrap there and Dr. Johnny Fever. Hello, fellow babies. Bailey Quarters. And of course the station producer, Gary Sandy. Mr. Carlson's mama. I mean, the show really developed over the years that it was on, and every time it's on, I watch it. It brings back memories, you know. Again, I've probably seen every episode 10 times each. It just makes me laugh. Barney Miller was another one of those shows that used to, really develop around the characters. And that expression that Barney always had in his face. And the Inspector. Another one of my favorite shows is Hogan's Heroes. I mean, it's simple comedy, but it's funny. It's funny. I really can't get into the sitcoms of nowadays. I don't know why. Maybe I'm losing my sense of humor or something. I don't know. Is it the reality shows? They're not that real anymore. Professional wrestling these days, is not what it used to be. I mean, I can talk for hours about the old time wrestling. And how those guys really had to pound themselves in order to make a living, sell themselves. Now they got Hollywood writers writing storylines for these guys. They don't think for themselves. They're not creative. Back then, it was the wrestlers and the promoters. They created the storylines, and they would keep bringing people back. And they had to sell the sport. You didn't have a lot of the trick camera angles that they have these days, where they, as soon as the punch is about to be landed, they switch cameras. And back then, you had to make contact. You had to sell it. I remember watching, going to, on Wednesday nights, they used to have wrestling at the Miami Beach Convention Center. And it was every Wednesday. Sometimes they had it around other places around the county. Miami Marine Stadium, I've seen it at Miami-Dade North, South Miami High School Gymnasium. Wherever they can hold a show, they would, but most of the time it was at the convention center, and you get pretty good crowds there too. There's usually an 8-match card, and that main event, they had Dusty Rhodes, superstar Billy Graham, and Bob Roop. Briscoe brothers. Just very, very entertaining. You know, they had Pops over there. You know, all the bad guy wrestlers used to argue with them, and whenever the good guy threw a punch, it was like that whoosh, whoosh. Everybody, the whole crowd was into it. And it's not what today is. Just it's different. You know, back then we all knew it was scripted. I never said fake because those guys, you know, they had to sell it, so they had to pound each other. And yeah, you know, they if you knew how to do a move, you didn't injure your fellow wrestler, but you had to sell the sport, and there had to be some kind of contact. And well, you can see how many wrestlers died young, how many wrestlers died of overdose from pain pills, because those guys used to pound their bodies. When somebody got slammed, and the ring wasn't, I've been in the ring, it's not that soft, it's a little bouncy in the middle, but when somebody was slammed, sometimes the body just ricochet a couple of feet up back in the air. They got slammed so hard, you know. And a lot of the wrestlers back then were big and overweight. They were, although they used to build themselves in the 200-pound range, they were way over 300 pounds. And whenever they came, you know, off one of those slams or one of those maneuvers and moves, you can hear them hit the ring. Okay, you know, some people said that they used to hide a microphone under the ring, you know, to make it more noise, and it was fun. It was part of it. You know, pounding the ring made so much noise that it was part of the action. But it was entertaining as hell. You know, entertaining as hell. I love the shows. The late great Ox Baker, who passed away very recently. He was a big entertainer and a really nice guy. Dusty Rhodes is not only a performer, but his as a booker, as creating the matches and creating storylines. Ric Flair, another one that was a master at it. Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair feuds, I mean, they would pack arenas all over the East Coast. When those guys went at it, it was real. Then come the Hulk Hogan's, who couldn't last 15 minutes in the ring before they were tired out, and had that big ego and that creative control clause in their contract, which they didn't like losing. You know, they wouldn't. The match had to be ended, you know, their way or whatever. But that's when I started getting turned off by wrestling. I liked wrestling back, but they had the territories, and the guys really sold that sport. Dick Murdoch's, Ron Bass. I mean, I grew up watching those guys perform, and those were some tough men. Tag team matches, you know, if you and your tag team partner did not sync, you can really look bad. And one of the best, apart from the Road Warriors, one of the best tag teams ever was a tag team combination of Bob Roop and Bob Orton Jr. Those guys, they synced on each other with each other. The moves were smooth as silk. They were so good at what they did. They not only sold the sport, they make their opponents look good. Very few tag teams, you know, had that chemistry between them. You know, the other one was the New England Sheepherders, that also were known as the Bushwhackers, I think, or the Kiwi Sheepherders. They I think it was a total of about 2 different combinations, 3 different performers combined to make the Sheepherders, but they were in sync too. They were great. The Hollywood Blondes from California. Buddy Roberts and Jerry Brown. Speaking of Buddy Roberts, the Freebirds, another great tag team. The Fabulous Ones, Steve Keirn and Stan Lane. If we were to look at some of the videos that they did back then, you would say, oh, those two guys were in the bathtub together, that's so gay, you know, whatever. But it was funny then, you know. But anyway, it's been a smooth ride so far, and I don't want to keep you all too long. Temperature's still down to 70 degrees, and thank you all for riding with me. And this is a Rant and a Raid, and like I said, 70 degrees over Cutler Bay, Florida. And I'm out.